One of the most freeing thing I've realized lately is that you don't have to attend every competition that you're invited to. This is a world that we live in where everybody's comparing themselves to everybody and competing with everybody because you think that they are the ultimate goal. And I get it, we need somebody to have done it to see something and to see what's possible and all of that. But I think that's not a great place to live your life in. A lot of people are comparing themselves to people and competing with people because they think that them being successful is going to change the success for them. And that could not have been further away from the truth. Somebody competing with you and inviting you to that competition is not your responsibility. And this is not from a bitter place, it's from a place of growth, to understand that competition is asking, what am I doing compared to you? While growth is really asking, how am I doing compared to my goals, compared to what I was doing yesterday, compared to who I actually am trying to become. And those are two different places to be in. And once I understand that you can compare yourself with me, you can compete with me, you can misunderstand me, you can do all of those things, but it's not my responsibility to fill the gap. And it's also like, you being successful is not taking anything away from me. The competition went through the door. There are a lot of people who like pride themselves in being a competitive person, and I think it's always good to be an ambitious person, somebody who's working towards something and somebody who has a goal in mind and is going after that goal. But when you step into the lane of competition, you're literally bringing yourself down to a standard of somebody else, because competition means that you are competing with somebody. You're trying to outdo them, you're trying to outbe them, you're trying to outlive them, when the inward pointing, the finger should always be pointing inward to outdo what you did yesterday, to outbe what you did last year. And the competition should always be a self competition and not any outward competition with anybody else, right? It doesn't change your success ratio. It doesn't change your success probability if your friend or your family or your coworkers or anybody within your space or life is doing well. That should be motivation for you to do better. But when you're competing, it's just like you're trying to do better than them. You're trying to outdo everything that they're doing. And what if that's not even something that you like? You're literally competing for a life that is not even yours. Because everything they do in their life is theirs. Everything you're doing in your life is yours. Why are you trying to outdo another person at their life, at their skill set? You know, something I've realized, and this is also a very freeing realization, is that everybody isn't just not good at everything. There are some people who naturally fit into certain roles and spaces, and some people who don't. There are some people who thrive at being customer focused, who love to talk to people, who can give energy to people all day long with a smile. And I'm not talking a fake smile, a genuine smile. There are people who are so fit for those roles and they excel in them, they do great in them. And those same person would probably be struggling in a management role, would probably be struggling in a back office role, in something that demands more analytical and not just a customer facing role. And the opposite could also be true. There will be somebody who thrives in operations management, in keeping everything in structured order and functioning well, and they would just not function well in a customer facing role. I've talked about this in a previous video where I said that, you know, opportunities aren't inherently good or bad, it's just a good or bad fit for you. It's understanding that you cannot just be competing and comparing yourself to people who are in their lane. Like, you could literally try to compete with me, compare with me, all the things. I'm not changing my lane because I am realizing a lot of things about myself right now. I know I work, I know I like to show up, and what energizes me and what fuels me. And a lot of things don't. But the things that do are very specific. And if I'm going to step out of my element to compare and compete with somebody who is doing well in their lane, I have already lost the race. And when I think about it that way, and I look at a lot of people who I know personally who have achieved a certain level of success, I look at it initially and I'm thinking, like, what did they do that I didn't do? But now, as I'm maturing and growing older, I'm seeing like they are in their element. That's great. Let me figure out how to be in my element. I think one of the worst things is probably to achieve success in a lane that is not yours. Because how do you sustain it is the question. And I think that gives a lot of perspective. I remember when I just started posting on YouTube 3 years ago, I had one of my videos that has 29,000 views. And that is a video where I was talking about reasons to take out debt, right? And it was a video that I thought about. It was things that I researched and things that I knew. So it wasn't any lies or anything like that. But I can think about 3 years later now when I'm talking about my debt journey and how getting into debt kind of really put me in a very mentally low spot, because I've just been doing a lot of jobs that I didn't want to do just to be able to clear out this debt, and how it's been weighing on my back and things like that. And if I had continued my channel on that path of talking about reasons to borrow debt, I still think there are some, but I don't really, I'm that energized to talk about it right now, other than telling people to get out of it. So if I had continued my channel on that path and I had achieved the ultimate breakthrough of success, I don't know how I would feel right now. And so I'm kind of glad I didn't. And I'm kind of glad I kind of gave myself space away to be able to see, okay, I'm going to do this again and I'm not going to be putting on no fluff. It's the same thing. Like, I want to be successful in my lane. I don't want to be successful in anybody else's lane, because I don't know I'm going to be able to sustain that. And so whenever we do feel that sense of I'm not doing enough, or I'm not being enough, or I'm not where I want to be, it's invitation to assess what lane are you really in. It's not invitation to join somebody else on their lane, because you don't know where they're going. You don't know if you'll enjoy that. You don't know what that process is like, because that's not yours, right? And I just want to tell you that your level of success is determined by your outputs, by how you show up for yourself, by being clear on what you want and going after those things, specific things, not just the broad throw your fish in the water and catch any fish when you know you only eat snapper. It's just really trying to get good at your lane, trying to get good at understanding yourself and seeing what lane you even want to go in, and going 10 foot down in that lane, right? I know that there's a lot of things on the internet that is telling us, oh, everybody lives their life, and we try to live life like another person who is successful because we know we want to become successful, and that's fine when you get inspiration from other people. But it's also like, that's their life. You have to find a time that works for you, right? Some people get up early in the morning and they have good days. Some people get up late at night and they have good days. Like, it's not a one size shoes fit all. But regardless of how you want to show up and how you want to live your experience, make it your experience. Don't make it somebody else's experience. Don't live somebody else's life because you're trying to get to their success, because you don't want their success. You want your success. I think that is what you want, but probably you don't know exactly how to achieve that because there are no blueprints in your immediate life. And so if that's something that you're trying to figure out in this season of your life, I hope this video finds you well, and I hope there is something that you can take from it in order to change your perspective on how you approach the way that you're showing up, because misery loves company. And I just think it's a very miserable life when you're trying to live your life based on somebody else's dreams, based on somebody else's goal, based on how somebody else is doing their exact life. Like, we are all unique. We have different fingerprints for a reason. That means we're different people. So Yes, take inspiration. Yes, see what is possible, but live your own life, run your own race, stay in your own lane, and ultimately that will give you a success that you can sustain. All right. If this video was informative, give it a like and also share this with anybody that you could benefit from hearing what I talked about today, and comment below. Has this shaped the way that you see competition differently? I'd love to know. Also, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and if you are a new subscriber to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I I want to invite you to my rebuild workshop, which will be happening on July 18 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're ready to stop surviving and start creating options for yourself, I'd love to have you there. The seats are free. It's a virtual event, and you can register with the link in my bio. All right, I'd love to see you there. And also follow me on all social media platforms at Khrista-Lee Amor. That's Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I'll see you in my next video tomorrow. Let's go make some mistakes. Bye.